Her thoughts. The audacity of the man's behavior wasn't new to her, but it still stung. Leah had served her country with honor, yet moments like these reminded her how far there was still to go in breaking down stereotypes and prejudices. As the flight began, Leah closed her eyes, attempting to relax, but she couldn't shake the tension from earlier. Then an idea struck her. Reaching into her bag, she pulled out a small notepad and pen. With deliberate care, she began to write a note, her handwriting steady despite the turbulence she felt inside. When the plane landed, Leah waited patiently for most passengers to disembark before approaching the man who was standing by the overhead compartment retrieving his luggage. She handed him the folded note without a word, her expression calm but resolute. Surprised, the man hesitated before taking it. As he unfolded the note and read the words, his smug demeanor faltered. The note was short but piercing. "I serve to protect the freedom of everyone, including those who believe I don't belong. Next time, remember that respect isn't tied to a seat number, it's a choice." Leah watched as his expression shifted. Confusion, guilt, perhaps even regret, but she didn't wait for a response. Shouldering her bag, she walked away, her steps lighter now. She had stood her ground with grace, and that, she thought, was the dignity of a soldier. Over. She handed the note to the attendant and quietly asked if it could be delivered to the man in 5. The flight attendant nodded, her expression warm and understanding. A few moments later, Leah watched as the man received the note. He opened it, his brow furrowing as he read. For a moment, he seemed to freeze, the weight of her words sinking in. His posture softened slightly, and he glanced back at Leah. Their eyes met briefly, and though he said nothing, the hostility in his gaze was gone. Leah turned away, gazing out the window at the clouds below. She didn't need an apology or acknowledgement. She had spoken her truth and stood her ground with grace. For her, that was enough. Of empathy as she listened to his words. She could see the pain in his eyes, a reflection of loss and unresolved grief. Gently, she shook his hand. "I'm sorry for your loss, David," she said softly. "Your brother's sacrifice is deeply appreciated, and his memory lives on in the freedoms we protect." David nodded, his expression a mix of gratitude and sorrow. "Thank you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "And thank you for reminding me of what truly matters. I'll carry your words with me." As they parted ways, Leah felt a sense of closure she hadn't expected. While the journey had started with tension and prejudice, it ended with understanding and a glimpse of shared humanity. She walked off the plane with a lighter heart, ready to embrace the family waiting for her and the peace she had earned. "I'm sorry for your loss," Leah said, her voice steady but filled with empathy. "Losing someone you care about, especially in the line of duty, is never easy." David nodded, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice soft. "And thank you for reminding me that we're all in this together." As they exited the plane, Leah and David walked side by side, two strangers bound by a brief but meaningful connection. What had started as a moment of tension had evolved into an opportunity for understanding. The note Leah had written had bridged an unseen gap, revealing their shared humanity. When they reached the gate, David stopped and turned to face Leah. "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out," he said, handing her a business card. His tone was earnest, his expression genuine. "And please, take care of yourself." Leah took the card with a small, grateful smile, slipping it into her pocket. "I will. You take care too, David." As he walked away, Leah watched him disappear into the bustling crowd. She felt a quiet sense of peace settle over her. The encounter, which had begun with prejudice and hostility, had ended with mutual respect and a moment of healing. It was a reminder that even in the most unexpected situations, there is always potential for understanding and growth. Walking through the airport, Leah reflected on what had transpired. She thought of the countless sacrifices she and her fellow soldiers had made to protect the ideals of equality and freedom. It gave her hope to know that people like David could learn, change, and strive for compassion. The world wasn't perfect, and Leah knew that challenges and prejudices would persist, but she also knew that kindness, empathy, and courage could create ripples of change. David's apology and willingness to connect were proof of that. As Leah left the airport, her steps felt lighter. She carried with her a renewed sense of purpose and belief in the power of human connection. Moments like these, she realized, were worth fighting for, a chance to inspire change, one person at a time.